This is a video response to the final assignment. I believe it's question 3. Who were the biggest heroes and who were the biggest jerks? So, my personal favorite and the first person on my list is Jean-Michel Basquiat as one of the biggest heroes. I feel that Jean-Michel Basquiat was one of the biggest heroes because he came from nothing, and at a short time, 2 years tops, he rose to like this very popular artist, very rich, or he not very rich, but he made a lot of money off of his art, and he was being noticed and being, exhibiting his art all over the world. So he did accomplish a lot. I just feel like he's one of those artists who challenged the status quo. He was avant-garde. Not a lot of people liked what he was doing. The fine art world, they weren't really rocking with him like that. And I feel like they didn't see how great he was until he was gone, as tragic as it was. But that's just pretty much how it goes with all the greatest artists. They go soon. And I don't know. I feel like he was just one of those artists, one of those hero type artists. I feel like especially for black people, or young black males to be exact, he crowned a lot of people. He crowned a lot of kings. Like, one of my favorite quotes from him was, "Most young kings get their heads cut off." And he had, at a time when he had gotten really, really paranoid and really mistrusting of people around him, and he saw that the racism that it was racism around him. He was doing an interview, and they were calling him a primitive artist, and he was like, primitive, like a primate, like an ape. He challenged that, and you could see it all in his art that he would put crowns on these black men, and he would tell stories about the black person in America, and he would challenge that boldly, and I feel like that's what makes him a hero. Next on my list is, I may be biased, but Claw, because she was a female in a male dominated arena. Well, most of the art arena is male dominated, but Claw was not your average tagger, not your average script writer, and she could hold her own amongst all of these guys, or all of the guys that do create this type of street art. And not only was she able to do that fearlessly, she was able to still do fashion, still, create for clothing lines and music videos for artists. So I feel like she owned it. She owned what she did, her art. And she did a pretty good job. And she's a hero for girls that want to make graffiti art. Next on the list would have to be Enem. Enem is from Philly. I feel that he is a hero because he's a family man, he's a grown man, and he can still do graffiti. And he brought the graffiti into a gallery setting, street art into a gallery setting. Like, he opened up a art studio where graffiti artists can, show and exhibit their art. That's hero-like to me. He took something and he gave back to the subculture. Like he said, you're not really a graffiti artist if you're not giving back to the subculture. And that's what he did. So I see him as a hero. I want to discuss the movie Banksy altogether. I wasn't sure where to put Mr. Brainwash, aka Terry Guetta. I'm not sure where to put him. He's like one of the most confusing. I have Banksy's name, the artist Banksy, under the greatest heroes, just because I feel like what he was doing was prolific. What he was doing was sick. Like, people were already making art. People were already doing street art, but when he did it, it was so different and it was so eye-catching. And when Banksy did his exhibit It was a celebrity event. He had the elephant in the room. Of course, that was controversial. He did the Disneyland thing. He was just badass. He was a hero for many people. The telephone booth with the accent to it, like all his stuff was brilliant. The balloons, and he was just brilliant. I feel like he is a hero. So yeah, Banksy is one of those heroes. I'm gonna go into the biggest jerks, and I'm not sure whether I should include Mr. Brainwash or not. The top biggest jerk on my list is Joe. I feel like Joe is just, like, I don't know, like he just sucks. Like, who like chases down graffiti and just tries to get rid of it, especially when they're not even getting paid for it? Like, why do you care that much? It bothers me that it bothers him that much. It really does, and it makes me so upset. I feel like he's just a jerk. He's just one of those guys. Like, he's like a hall monitor, like, who just I don't know, like, he just irritates me. Like, it really made me mad that he was that adamant about erasing all of these people's street art. It really made me mad. So he's like the biggest jerk. The graffiti gorilla. Like, get a life. Stop it. Another jerk was Ear Snot. Like, I don't condone thieves. I don't condone stealing. Like, to me, it's just, especially when you don't have to. And the fact that his whole crew is just dedicated to stealing and tagging stuff. It's just, come on, bro. Like, no, that's not cute. It's not. He's a jerk. I mean, I don't think I need to say much. He's a jerk. So last on that list of biggest jerks, and I don't know if I should call him a jerk, but most confusing is Mr. Brainwash. I didn't know how to feel. Like, you followed all these people around. You acted like you were making an art documentary. You didn't make an art documentary. You ended up making one, and it was sucky. Like, it sucked really bad. You didn't know what you were doing. It was terrible to watch. A hero that I regarded as a hero, Banksy, who's very private, you know what I'm saying, invited you into his space. And that's just like how Andy Warhol invited Jean Michel into his space. That's sacred. And I feel like, these people are letting you in, and you're BSing them one, and then you start doing art on this mass commercial level. Like, Banksy wasn't even about the money, and he invited you into his space because you were supposed to be a good person. And I'm not saying he's not a good person. He looks like such a sweet, weird, eccentric person, but then he just goes and just makes people pay so much money for these pieces that I don't even know if they're really art. Well, they're art, but are they worth as much money as you're selling them for? He makes all this money, and life is beautiful for him. I don't know how to feel. Like, you want to be happy for somebody that they made a come up, but then it's just like, hey, I just feel like you cheated. Like, I don't know how to feel. And you can tell that a lot of his counterparts just don't know how to feel either. Like, Banksy's not happy about it, and some of the other street artists are not happy about it. He just seemed like a scatterbrain. He really was the most confusing artist. He said, when life is over, we will see if I was a rabbit or a turtle. Like, I don't know if that means, like, just wait and see. Like, just watch and see. Like, he's saying that to his spectators and people who are criticizing him. Like, you think I was doing things wrong, but all along I was doing things right. And maybe so, but I don't know how I feel about Mr. Scatterbrain Brainwash guy, Terry Guetta. But yeah, that's it. That's my answer.